still. They're wrecking up back. Check. How far away from hitting are we?
Your ass. You're a lap down. You got nothing to do. Why you run right into me? I want to get your ass. I want to get back in the stick.
And what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Historic Hot Laps. I'm your host, Alex Daniels. Let's do another one here. We'll try to condense it down to what we can. Kick it off with some race recaps. We had the IndyCar Series hitting up World Wide Technology Raceway, also known as Gateway from back when. Practice 1, the fastest 3 on a real surprise. You had Newgarden fastest, followed by McLaughlin and Malukas coming in third fastest. Obviously, going into this, we knew Newgarden had 5 wins at this track. This was supposed to be a dominating weekend for Penske. During qualifying, Team Penske came in strong per expectation. Will Power came in a 2-lap average of 180.329. The track just seemed to get better and better over qualifying. McLaughlin held a top spot until Power bumped him down one, but a Penske front row lockout, which, like I said, as to be expected. Practice 2 in the Highline practice, nothing real surprising there. Little more towards the conditions that they were going to be racing. Didn't see anything real crazy. Kind of everybody stayed in order. And during the race, first off, this is Graham Rahal's 300th start, which is quite impressive if you look at the tenure of most drivers these days. So the fact that he can knock out 300 starts is pretty awesome. Then going into the race, we had an early caution as Devlin DeFrancesco backed it into the wall, just got a little loose. And then going from there, while in second place, Will Power ended up cutting a tire and sliding up against the wall. He nursed it back to pit lane somehow, but it was definitely done for. Ruined his day. Broke some steering and suspension stuff. It wasn't good. He was running real nice, real fast, but bad luck again. Joseph Newgarden was leading the race and got into a bad incident with Louis Foster, destroying both cars, putting Joseph up on the lid, going up basically over the wall. Had he gone a little further over, but up to pit lane there. Coming down once again, the halo doing its job, keeping drivers safe. And two races in a row where Foster had some real sketchy incidents. So that is unfortunate to see over there for that program. Overall, pretty exciting ending. We saw Kyle Kirkwood take the lead and hold it off until the end. Still keeping this series with just 2 drivers winning the first 8 races of the season. Pretty wild, and also the first time since 1980 that this has happened. So making history. We'll see what happens going into Road America. Can one of those 2 win it again? Obviously, the bet's on Palou as far as that goes, but you never know. All right, we had NASCAR in Mexico. Going down there, logistically, we knew this was going to be a challenge, right? Then we got some news about Kyle Busch. Oh, Kyle. So while attempting to access Mexico on his way back to the Mexico race, I guess not back to it, but on his way down there, we saw that he got detained at the border for an outstanding warrant stemming from a personal matter in 2023 when he was down there. Just not great luck for him. They got it resolved. He checked beforehand, I believe, and he was supposed to be cleared, but obviously something happened with all that. So we also got down there with Denny Hamlin and his fiancée Jordan finally having their baby boy. So he was granted the waiver to miss the Mexico race. We all kind of knew timeline was looking rough on this. And like everyone said, if this was Darlington or somewhere close, he honestly probably would have gone to the race and then gone back to Jordan that night. But being in Mexico and the logistics of that, it's not so easy from the East Coast there. So he stayed and did not drive. And he was replaced by Ryan Truex, which is pretty awesome. Great Cup Series opportunity for the younger of the Truex brothers. We did not see a truck race on this one, but we did see Xfinity and Cup. Looking at the Xfinity race, stage 1, strong start by Connor Zilisch and Ty Gibbs. Tyler Gray and Austin Hill also very prominent. Stage 2, Connor Zilisch continues the lead. Incident with Ty Gibbs around lap 48 set up some late drama. Multiple cycles of pit stops shuffled the field. We had a couple debuts from the NASCAR Mexico Series, which was awesome. Perez de Laura, he completed a solid run. And Rovello, who ended up exiting early due to mechanical troubles after stage 1. But notable drivers from the NASCAR Mexico Series there. Going into the final stage, late race chaos. Zilisch and Gibbs get caught up in a melee on lap 48, like we talked about. Zilisch recovers to end in P5. Gibbs fell all the way back to 14th, finishing there. Daniel Suarez ended up pushing real hard to the front during the closing laps, and he was beating and banging. His car was pretty tore up. He was already on a backup car. Towards the finish, Suarez led the final 19 laps, fending it off against Taylor Gray. Torres won a signature for his home country. This is his first win in any series in 2025, but his fourth career Xfinity win. Podium rounded off with Taylor Gray in second and Austin Hill in third. So awesome seeing the home countrymen get the win on that Saturday race, the Xfinity. This takes us over to the Cup Series race, the Viva Mexico 250 at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. First time since 1958, NASCAR took the Cup Series beyond the U.S. borders to the technical road course in Mexico City. It was clear that Shaden Van Gisbergen, SVG as they call him, was going to be the ace in the sleeve on this one. Being from New Zealand with the road course experience he had, he was definitely the man to beat. He secured the pole position and dominated the race. He led 60 of 100 laps. It wasn't all smooth sailing though. Rain really focused into the strategic decisions, staying on wet weather tires, going to slicks, back and forth. That ended up giving an opportunity for Ryan Preece to take the stage 1 win, while SVG claimed stage 2. Meanwhile, Carson Hocevar had a late spin that triggered a caution, shook up the pit strategies a little bit, and also caused a lot of drama, which we'll probably learn more about the coming weeks as Stenhouse probably boiling and ready to do something about it. Being that 2 races in a row, Hocevar took him out. As laps wound down, Christopher Bell and Chase Elliott fought hard for podium spots. No one could touch SVG. He was way ahead of the pack. Bell finished second, Elliott finished third, Bowman fourth, and McDowell rounded out the top 5, which honestly I thought McDowell was going to be podium worthy. I mean, he's close, top 5, but I guess the biggest question is anybody that watched it, do you want to see NASCAR return to Mexico City in 2026? The fans there were insane. That stadium section they've got on the track is amazing. The drivers had to face some logistical issues. There's some things that could be, redone or so, but honestly, iron that stuff out, and passion for the motorsports in Mexico is there, and they deserve it. So hopefully we can see them again in 2026. All right, let's talk F1 Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal. We talked about this schedule for next year on the last episode. Here we are talking about the race now, so let's talk about it. George Russell just came out, made things happen. He clinched the victory with the race, keeping it away from Max Verstappen. In Red Bull, they finished second, just 0.228 seconds behind Russell. Kimi Antonelli, also Mercedes, secured the 3rd spot on the podium. He was about 1.014 seconds behind George Russell. Takeaways from this race: George Russell led from start to finish. Another F1 deal. It's just not, I just don't understand you qualify and that's where you finish type thing. I mean, I get it. There's these one-offs, but it happens more and more over there. And it's tough. It's tough to really try to dedicate yourself and get into, but Max Verstappen kept the pressure on Russell throughout the race, but he couldn't overtake it. His fastest lap was just slightly slower, just like we talked about, 0.2 seconds behind. Antonelli getting a podium is a good thing. He was fending off quite a few different strategies, and other top drivers getting his 3rd place finish there. Oscar Piastri finished 4th, pretty consistent. Charles Leclerc from Ferrari rounding out the top 5, continuing his strong form this season. Lando Norris, unfortunately, did not finish the race. He only made it 66 laps before he had to retire the car. Alexander Albon and Liam Lawson both faced issues that led to their early retirements as well. With Russell's win, the championship battle is kind of heating up now. I mean, I'll give him that. The points shook up a lot more than the race did. And can't wait to see how the rest of this really unfolds, and hopefully it turns into something good. It was also Le Mans weekend. World Endurance Challenge, Le Mans 24 hours. Another black eye for Penske as far as qualifying controversy goes. The number 6 Penske Porsche was disqualified from the Le Mans qualifying after their Porsche 963 came in under minimum weight during post-qualifying technical inspection. It appears that Penske just cannot get a break with their cars, Chiefs, at any series, honestly. Any of them they struggle with. So we go into the weekend knowing that Penske's already having problems with their tech side of things. Not a great start for the 93rd running of the 24 Hours of Le Mans for them. Le Mans 2025 kicked off with pretty high expectations. Ferrari had the last 2 consecutive wins, aiming for a 3rd. Porsche and Cadillac looking to dethrone them a little bit if possible. Early on, Porsche's number 6 Penske Motorsport entry did surge pretty far forward from the back of the grid, battling with Ferrari in the number 51 and the number 50 cars. But as things ticked away and hours ticked by, the number 83 AF Corsa Ferrari, driven by Robert Kubica, Yifi Yi, and Phil Hansen, emerged as a surprise contender. During nightfall, he had a lot of chaos. Ferrari's factory cars ran into some trouble, opening the door for the number 83 to take control. Meanwhile, Cadillac's front row starters struggled with pace. Toyota found themselves off of the podium fight after that. As sunrise the next morning, Kubica's Ferrari tightened its grip in the lead. Despite late pressure from Porsche's number 6 and the number 83 held firm, crossing the line first, securing Ferrari's third straight Le Mans win and Kubica's long-awaited redemption. With Ferrari's dominance, Porsche coming in strong second, Kubica's emotional victory for Le Mans 2025. Be a pretty good race for the history books on that one. But going into next year, can anyone stop Ferrari? That's the real question we need to ask, right? And what's going on with Penske and all their programs at the end of the day? Even in the World Endurance Challenge, they seem to just be struggling all around. That takes us to the USAC National Sprints, Red Hill Raceway, the National Sprint Race known as the Salute to Levi Jones, Friday the 13th event. This marked USAC's first return to Red Hill in 26 years. Last race was held there in 1998. Logan Seavey claimed victory, securing $10,000 in prize money after fending off Kyle Cummins and Justin Grant in a pretty good battle up front. Seavey, the defending series champion, executed swift moves through traffic and survived multiple restarts, turn his 26th career USAC National Sprint car win. So congrats to him on that one. There was a lot of rain delays in this race. Pushed qualifying past 11 p.m. local. Originally, Seavey was actually in second place per the qualifying order, but was moved to pole position after CJ Larry was penalized for jumping the initial start. So helped him out on that one. That runs us over to the World of Outlaws, Knoxville Raceway. The NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series race Knoxville Raceway. This one was the premier Chevy Dealers Clash. David Gravel charged from 8th to 1st, securing his 9th win of the season after a lap 20 pass on Kerry Madsen. Madsen, who was leading, admitted a miscalculation in the traffic, trying to run the high and the low, cost him a victory. Rico Abreu rounded out the podium, continuing his strong performance in Knoxville, and he's having a great season overall, honestly. There's 64 cars entered this event, making it one of the biggest fields so far this season. So Gravel's win extended his series points lead to 174 points. So chances are no one's going to be catching him anytime soon.
Kerry was just hammering the top, and I felt like I found the bottom of 1 and 2 pretty early, and well, not early, but halfway through that race, and felt really good. And the exit, there was a lot of grip down there. I lost the Knoxville Nationals that way of pounding the top too long, and Donnie drives by you. So, yeah, I felt really good from lap 5 to lap 20. I felt awesome. Beginning, I was all right, and then at the end, I was feeling a little weird, but we were the best car there for 15 or 20 laps by far, and shows we could move around and, charge the corner hard on the bottom and carry speed. So, got to thank Cody, Zach, and Pete, and Scott this week for helping us out. And Todd's here. He's been wanting to win races, so here's a win for you, Todd. It feels good. I didn't have a good pill draw. The 41 qualified well, and we qualified 5th, which was acceptable. Could have been a little bit better. I messed up on my second lap, but just great to be in the ball game. You do not want to put yourself behind the 8 ball with a field of cars like this. So.
Let's talk about some news this week. Couple key items to talk about. Start off with the IndyCar news. Another not surprising move. It appears that the new IndyCar chassis is being delayed even further. IndyCar now has announced the new engine and chassis package will be ready for the 2028 season, no longer the 2027 season. Apparently there's some debate on the sizing of the hybrid energy recovery unit and the specs on that, which means engine testing can't begin. And both Chevrolet and Honda are required to test 50 engines prior to the release, which will obviously take a lot of time. Engine manufacturers have given IndyCar 18-month timeline for engine rollout from the time they receive the final specs. And since we don't have specs, that leaves us in the current situation and the current delay. So that is unfortunate to hear, but not surprising. On the Indy NXT side of things, James Rowe has been placed on probation for the next 3 races following failure to follow IndyCar instruction and restart in the rear of the field during a penalty that he was supposed to serve in the Detroit Grand Prix. So he'll be on his best behavior for the next few races. Jumping over to NASCAR, this is all going to be 100% lawsuit news. It never ends over there. 2311 and Front Row Motorsports have until Thursday, which is actually when we're recording this, so we'll see what comes of it and talk about it next week, to ask for a rehearing of the entire appeals court. and will do so to try to get reinstatement of the injunction requiring NASCAR to allow 2311 and FRM to race as chartered teams in 2025. Jeffrey Kessler, the attorney for the group, said if the teams don't get the rehearing, they'd most likely lose their charter's status 7 days after the decision to not getting a rehearing. NASCAR hasn't said yet how it would handle as far as those relinquished charters, including the charters that were sold from SHR. So that was per Bob Pockris over there at Fox Sports. So pretty good resource there. We also have some additional courtroom drama. Per motorsport.com, here is a little bit about the Legacy Motor Club lawsuit and the Rick Ware Racing problems they've got. The team claimed Rick Ware Racing attempted to illegally back out of the deal and sell one of its charters to the Jimmy Johnson-led group. LMC had entered a charter purchase agreement with Rick Ware Racing, signed a document that would transfer the RWR-owned charter to LMC. Both teams currently own 2 charters, but Rick Ware is leasing one of those to RFK Racing, which is at number 60 of Ryan Preece. This deal indicated that Legacy Motor Club intends to expand to a 3-car operation in 2026 should they manage to purchase the charter. RWR has now taken steps to fight back in the courthouse. Initially, they planned to make a deal with LMC for the 2027 season and said they're forced to sell a charter to LMC. They would have no charter under which to race and would go out of business. For this reason, RWR would never have agreed and equivalently did not agree to sell charter number 27 in advance of the 2026 season. Charter number 27 is currently being used by RFK Racing. Per court documents, there was confusion between the two parties over which charter was being sold. RWR also has charter number 36, which Cody Ware currently uses to run the number 51 RWR entry. RWR claims that LMC named charter number 27 in their original suit, but the deal was allegedly for charter number 36, which could invalidate the lawsuit. These discrepancies over what charter is even up for grabs and what year this is supposed to take place appear to be at the center of the whole disagreement, right? So RWR also claims they attempted to return a $750,000 deposit to LMC provided as part of the deal, but LMC did not accept it. As previously reported, this charter sale was set to be for $45 million, which would be the most expensive charter purchase ever. So pretty wild. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that all pans out.
Biggest day of my life. A miracle. That's what it was. Everybody waits for this, but you make your own way. And I earned it, I guess. That's what Ralph said. You're here because they want you. They like the way you ran it. The way you drive. You don't jump out front. You just cool it and wait to take your time. Like walking into a diamond factory. It was just unbelievable. I just can't describe it, but it was run and handled to perfection. It was my biggest one ever. Darlington. Rebel 300. We sat on the pole, on the outside front row. Turner was on the pole. And Moody said, watch Turner. He says, he'll put you out of the race to win it. What we discussed, right, he'd point to his head and think. And he wrote on the dashboard before the race, put a big think sign. Turner was sharp. He was driving for the Woods brothers, had a great car. And I had a good car. And I had the drive. I wanted to win it bad.
All right, let's talk some history this week. This week we're going to talk about Fred Lorenzen, born December 30th, 1934, passing away December 18th, 2024. Nicknamed the Golden Boy, Fast Freddy, the Elmhurst Express, and Fearless Freddy, American NASCAR driver from Elmhurst, Illinois. And let's talk about it. The early days of Fred Lorenzen. At the age of 15, he had competed in a contest in Illinois to see who could flip a 1937 Plymouth over first by cranking it around in circles. Lorenzen claimed to be the victor of that tourney. Kind of just one of those word-of-mouth stories, right? But that's how he got his early days at the age of 15, getting his love for going in a circle. After graduating from high school, Lorenzen began racing modifieds and late models, made his NASCAR debut in 1956 at Langhorne Speedway, where he finished 26th after suffering a broken fuel pump. He won $25 for the effort. He moved to a USAC stock car and won the 1958 and 1959 championships, driving his Talarico Bros built Chevrolet. On Christmas Eve in 1960, Lorenzen received a phone call from team owner Ralph Moody that would change his career. Moody asked Lorenzen about becoming his team's lead driver. We've talked about Moody and the Holman and Moody group before on previous episodes of this podcast, but a surprise Lorenzen accepted. I'll be curious as to what he'd done to fulfill Moody's criteria to be part of his team. He didn't know why he was there, but he was happy he was there, right? In 1961, Lorenzen began winning races that would become a remarkable career. For 5 years, from 1961 till 1966, Lorenzen dominated NASCAR like few other drivers ever would, winning many major races and defeating the best drivers of his day. In his maiden season with Holman Moody, Lorenzen won the Grand National 200 at Martinsville, the Rebel 300 at Darlington, and the Festival 250 at Atlanta. There was no doubt Lorenzen would challenge all-time greats for top prize in NASCAR. In 1962, he won the Atlanta 500 and a race at Augusta Speedway. The 1962 Ford was troubled at the start of the season by inferior aerodynamics. Hard to believe that was a thing back then, but it was. Ford introduced a Starlift option for the convertible that rectified that issue. The Atlanta 500 was the only race it was used. NASCAR banned it since it didn't completely cover, obviously only for the racing advantage of it back in the day when everything wasn't so spec, right? In 1963, Lorenzen soared to the top and became the top money winner and the first to break a $100,000 barrier in one season. That amazing year, Lorenzen won the Atlanta 500, the World 600, the Volunteer 500, and the Western North Carolina 500, the Mountaineer 300, the Old Dominion 500, bringing his total winnings to $122,000, which in 1963 is wild. It's a ton of money. 1964, Lorenzen won several more races, basically all the same ones again, plus a few more. 6 of those races are current classics and Sprint Cup circuit as of the last generation of car. He also won the USAC-sanctioned Yankee 300. In 1965, Lorenzen won the Daytona 500, the Virginia 500, and World 600, and the National 400. He kept winning in 1966, 1967. He won the Daytona 500 qualifier. He compiled an amazing record of wins, made him the most dominant driver of NASCAR during a very significant portion of its golden era. In one race in 1966 at Atlanta Motor Speedway, he drove a Junior Johnson-owned number 26 Ford due to the Ford boycott of NASCAR for much of the 1966 season, and it's still one of the most talked about vehicles in the NASCAR Grand National Championship to this day. The front end of the car was sloped downward, the roofline was lowered, the side windows were narrowed, and the windshield was lower in an aerodynamic position, much like they try to do today by using thinner metal and things like that to kind of cheat the system. And the tail was kicked up. Several rival drivers referred to it as the Yellow Banana, Junior's Joke, and the Magnaflux Monster, talking about Magnaflux welding. Even though it was against the rules, NASCAR allowed the car to compete, and Lorenzen crashed while leading the Dixie 500 on lap 139. One pit crew member said that the incident, I've never seen anybody who could drive a banana at 150 miles an hour. A legal car only ran the one race and attempted to bring up attendance, which suffered due to the Ford boycott. So a lot of drama there on that one. Lorenzen came back in 1970 driving a Dodge Daytona prepped by Ray Fox in the World 600, which is now the Coke 600, but dropped out while leading on lap 252 of 400 due to engine issues, running in a few more events that year, including substituting for Leroy Yarborough in the Junior Johnson number 98 Ford Torino at Talladega in that year's Southern 500. Yarborough had a prior IndyCar commitment. In 1971, he moved over to Ray Nichols and Paul Goldsmith's number 99 Plymouth, sponsored by STP. He left that team partway through the season and was badly injured in a practice crash while trying to drive for the Wood Brothers prior to the Southern 500. 1972, he hooked up with Haas Ellington to drive a Chevy Monte Carlo, to little success. His last start came in 1972 at the Old Dominion 500 at Martinsville. Let's talk about his later life. Clearly a winner. Won a million races, drove for everybody. You name it, and he did it, right? In his later life, Lorenzen lived in assisted living suburb of Chicago, surrounded by his family. In his heyday from 1962 to 1965, he was considered the top driver in NASCAR. On the super speedways, Lorenzen defeated all of the competition to compile an unprecedented streak of wins in major races. Racing for money instead of points, Lorenzen never competed for the annual Grand National Championship. He was just about the money, not about the fame, right? But he won the big races that made him the uncrowned king of NASCAR during its golden years. Lorenzen's countless fans waited for a long time for Lorenzen's brilliant career to be recognized with his introduction into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Lorenzen died from complications of dementia on December 18th, 2024 at the age of 89. So sad, but he had a good run. Awards: he was inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America in 2001, named one of NASCAR's 50 greatest drivers in 1998, inducted into NASCAR Hall of Fame in January of 2015. So just great to see that he's been recognized like he has been. So that just leaves us with some stats. Let's cover the stats of Mr. Fred Lorenzen. Championship titles: he was USAC stock car champion of 1958 and 1959. Major victories: we talked about World 600, also known as the Coke 600 now, in 63 and 65. Daytona 500 winner in 1965. AAA and USAC stock car career champion twice. Years active: 1956 through 1959 and 1964. NASCAR Cup Series career: 158 races run over 12 years. Won 26 of those, had 84 top 10s and 32 pole positions. So just another legend of the sport. Glad that he was with us and made the impression he made, and another one for the history books. So as always, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. We do appreciate it, and stay safe. We'll see you on the next one.
Matthews and Lorenzen slug it out. They watch the weather in disbelief. Banjo and Fred figure it will rain. They go for broke. Never did they drive so hard as this. Lap 213, 214, 215. Lorenzen pulls ahead. Rain. The race is over. Not the checkered flag, but the yellow flag waves over the darkened race area. Fred Lorenzen takes the race. Top money goes to this 28-year-old native of Elmhurst, Illinois. He gets his official notice and trophy in the press box.
Out goes the white flag. Just one lap to go. But what's this? Lorenzen's coasting. Cars stream by him. He's out of gas, trying to coast the final mile. Cars continue to whistle past him. He's creeping down the home stretch. Lorenzen wins, and now he cuts across the infield apron to the golden ring.
The white flag, one more lap. And it'll be Fred Lorenzen for the third straight time in the Atlanta 500. Fearless Freddie has won 4 out of 7 races run here. He has 2 laps on Bobby Isaac, 4 laps on Ned Jarrett in third. Lorenzen sailed through the final turn and across the finish line as Herb Nabb, his chief mechanic, flings the pit board into the air.
Lorenzen's got to make his move pretty soon. He moves right. Look out! Petty's car smashing into the rail. Lucky he didn't go right out of the racetrack. He's out of the race. That's obvious. Lorenzen's going to win it. Breezing around now. Lucky that Lorenzen's car didn't get hit. Petty is in the car. Can't see whether he's moving or not. The caution flag out, but also there's only 1 lap for Lorenzen. Petty moving. You saw his arm move and his head. The mechanic's talking to him. It looks like Richard may be okay. The right front of the car just demolished, hitting that wall at about 150 miles an hour. Lorenzen on his way to victory here at Charlotte. A shocking, stunning moment there as Richard Petty blew his right front tire. All these cars toward the end of the race couldn't afford another pit stop, and there was Lorenzen going across the checkered flag and the yellow caution flag, both being waved at the same time, indicating victory for Lorenzen, and to the other cars still in the track, look out because of damage and debris.
There it is. 1.5 miles to go. At 148 miles an hour in 37 seconds, he should be here for the checkered flag. If he can hold that lead for that amount of time, he is the winner of the National 400 for the 2nd year in a row. Hutchison will have to make his move now if he's going to do it. You recall a year ago, Lorenzen won it on the last lap here. Here he is going by one of the slower cars. So there doesn't seem to be any way for Hutcherson to catch him. Lorenzen is across the finish line. There he is. The checkered flag is out for him. Hutcherson flashes by just 2 seconds after Lorenzen, and Curtis Turner takes third place.
Thank you for sharing your time with us. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Don't forget to follow us at Historic Hot Laps on X and all your other social platforms for the latest updates and sneak peeks into upcoming episodes. You can reach out to us directly at historichotlaps@gmail.com. Send us your feedback, questions, comments, opinions, and additional subject matter you'd like us to cover. Thanks for tuning in.